Okay, folks, now we're going to take a break into the show. We're going to have a very special guest joining us today, ROH Senior referee Todd Sinclair. Todd, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we certainly enjoy you taking some time out of your day, joining us on the show. You're getting ready.
No problem.
Getting ready to call the Ring of Honor Final Battle 2011. It's going to be just a huge match. The entire card is stacked. Davey Richards versus diehard Eddie Edwards with UFC Hall of Famer Dan the Beast Severn. Also, World TV title match. Jay Lethal defending up against El Generico. Also, the Prodigy Mike Bennett. And a grudge match with no disqualification. Steve Corino versus Kevin Steen. If Steen wins, he is reinstated. Jimmy Jacobs is going to be the guest referee. And Jim Cornette will be in attendance at ringside. Also, the Roderick Strong Invitational Challenge. He will be challenging a mystery opponent as of this moment. Tag team gauntlet match. The All Night Express versus Future Shock, the Bravados, the Young Bucks, and Caprice Coleman and Cedric Alexander. The winning team is going to receive a future shot at the World Tag Team titles. A special challenge match, Unbreakable Michael Elgin with Truth Martini versus TJ Perkins. And the special attraction, our previous guest from last week, Tommaso Ciampa with the Embassy versus Jimmy Rave, just recently announced. And so definitely a stacked card. Any insight on what matches you're going to be calling for that pay-per-view?
The only one I know that I will be is Davey Richards against Eddie Edwards.
Ooh, very nice.
It's going to be a good match.
I'll for sure do that. Yeah, I mean, their last match was insane, just an insane battle. You know, like, they put everything out there. And these guys are friends. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, but when you have the ROH World title on the line, you got to do everything you can to win that thing.
Yeah.
So the way I look at it, what they did before, they learned as opponents, they're going to take it up even a bigger notch this time, and the match is going to be insane in my book. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You're certainly going to be calling a classic on there. What is there any extra pressure that you have or that you feel whenever you call big matches like that, or have you been in the business long enough that now it's just become sort of second nature to you?
I don't get. There's no nerves. There's no worries going in as far as am I up to the challenge to be the referee of this match. But I also I look at matches that are big like this for the ROH World title that are so important to both men, and I kind of take the philosophy that the NHL uses in the Stanley Cup playoffs. When there's a big match, you kind of want to let the wrestlers decide who's the victor and not have me make a call that screws something up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go into these big matches, I'm aware of, look, you'd be a little bit lenient here and there, so you're not. I don't want to be the factor in who wins the title and who loses the title and whatnot. I want to let the battle go on between the guys, and that's kind of what I look for when I go to these big matches.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. What were some of your favorite matches that you've officiated in the past?
I've had a whole bunch. I mean, I've been with Ring of Honor for about 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I've had so many stuff that jumps out. One of my favorite matches was Bryan Danielson against Kenta, which happened in New York City a few years ago. And the reason why that's one of my favorites was that Bryan, who had hurt his shoulder previous, and he was wrestling on a really hurt shoulder for a couple months, he went in, and because he was the ROH World Champ, he gave everything he had, even with a huge injury like that, to defend that title. And that was one of my favorites. Another favorite was, and it's not one that's on a lot of people's radars, was Delirious against Colt Cabana in England, maybe, I think it was the 5th year festival. That's a guess. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly.
That sounds right.
Yeah. That one of my favorites for this reason was, in the match, I kind of got involved and started wrestling with Delirious. And it was something that I didn't expect at all. Cabana had spun Delirious's mask around, so he couldn't see. And as he was wrestling with Cabana moved out of the way, and Delirious grabbed me and started rolling me up for pins. And it's I didn't expect to do it, but it was a lot of fun. And that kind of stands out as one of the best matches, personally, because it's something that I don't normally do.
It got you a little more involved in the match.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Very
and
cool.
It was fun. I do this, refereeing for wrestling because it's fun. It's not a job to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a lot of fun.
Very cool.
Talking about Daniel Bryan, I know you have a picture with him with the ROH title. Is there like any chance you want to take a picture with him with the World Heavyweight Championship?
It would be nice. Just not because it's the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't care, personally, but for Bryan to reach that peak, he's the guy. He's the best wrestler in the world has always been used for Bryan Danielson, and I know Punk uses it now, and that's cool because Punk's great too. Mm-hmm. But Bryan is just a special talent, and for him to achieve that goal was when I heard about it. I didn't get to see the show, but when I heard about it, it was just like a lot of pride and a lot of like wow, mm-hmm. He made it. He attained that because he deserves it, mm-hmm. And so I would like to have a picture with him for that reason, because I'm just really proud of him. He's a great guy. Anybody who's met him knows that Bryan's like just one of the coolest guys and works so hard, and he's a student of the game, and it would be great to be a part of that as far as picture-wise,
Mm-hmm.
And he also, has date contests for his friends.
That's right. Yeah, he tries to hook us up with lovely women, so that's good.
Whatever happened to the win a day with Todd Sinclair? Did you get how many days did you get out of that, man?
I didn't get any.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a depressing thing. But what happened was Bryan had when he started that contest initially, he was in Ring of Honor. It was just kind of like a joke fooling around. And then when he got let go from WWE, he contacted me. It's like, now's the time. We got to do this contest. So he put everything he had into it, and all this energy, and they made videos online and stuff like that, and it was fun. And then he got brought back. And so once he got brought back, it just kind of like fell by the wayside, Mm-hmm. So yeah, I didn't get any dates out of it.
That's a bummer.
That is a bummer. Who knows? Maybe
it certainly is.
Maybe one day he will return and start that up again for you.
Yeah, that would be good.
What if you want us to take up?
Yeah.
Slack. Just let us know.
Hey.
Yeah, we'll give you
give
it a shot. What?
I'm a shy guy outside, so I need all the help I can get.
There you go. What originally got you into the business? Like how did?
Really, just a love. Just like all of us, you guys do a show about wrestling because you love it,
Mm-hmm.
And I had always watched as a kid. I'd grown up from when I was little, watched wrestling and loved wrestling, and it was everything to me. And it was weird because most people that watch wrestling or anything like that they're really passionate about, a lot of people want to become wrestlers. Well, I always wanted to be a ref.
Huh.
For some reason, I focused on watching the refs. I just paid more attention to that. It struck me as an interesting thing. And for years and years, I wanted to be the referee, but I didn't have the guts to try it. So when I was 27, I was going to indie shows with my friends just around here in Massachusetts, and I had a couple friends who had started wrestling on these shows. So as I'm in the crowd at an indie show, my friends that I went to the show with said, "Why don't you ref George's match, who was wrestling that night?" And I was like, "Come on, I can't do that." And it just, in a span of like 3 minutes, they convinced the guy to let me ref the match. So I went in there, ref the match with no training at all, which is awful. And I was awful. And I was wearing a ref shirt that I borrowed from someone that was way too small. Now, I'm not the smallest guy in the world. And I was wearing jean shorts, which was because it was a summer show. So I'm in the ring. There's pictures online of me in this tight ref shirt with jean shorts. But that was my first time reffing. And at that point, I realized I could do it. And that gave me the confidence to sign up for wrestling school and then actually pursue this. So that's how I got into it.
Very cool.
You mentioned kind of being a student of the referees and paying maybe more attention to that during matches. Are there any like particular refs like that you were influenced by, or that really stand out as like great refs in your mind?
Yeah, the main one that I always loved was David Manning from World Class. Yeah, and there's others that I really enjoyed too. Tommy Young and Jimmy Corderas was great. But David Manning jumped out to me because he wasn't just a silent count 1, 2, 3 and that's it. If you watch the old World Class stuff with the Von Erichs, Freebirds, and all that stuff, he was like a focus. Not like David Manning's the star, but when they had a big match coming up, say they were pushing for a big 6-man tag match, they would actually interview David Manning what he thought and how he was going to approach refereeing the match. And he jumped out at me because he was a bigger role than just the guy hidden in the background counting 3, you know. So, but I've always loved David Manning.
You certainly earned the respect of the ROH roster, the staff, the fans, and all of that. But I really want to know, or at least touch base on how you were given the nickname Fat Pants, and how did you first take that? Was it more like an insult, or was it sort of just a joke, or?
No, I like it. It's mostly shortened to pants because a lot of people don't feel comfortable calling me Fat Pants, but Fat Pants is cool too. It came about before I was in wrestling. My brother actually came up with it, and it was, I went through a stretch, and I think we all, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us did, in the 80s, 90s, that wore those Zubaz pants. So like the Road Warriors used to wear them, and all these bodybuilders wore them and stuff like that, and wrestlers. But I wasn't a wrestler, and I wasn't a bodybuilder. I didn't have any reason to wear Zubaz pants. But I wore them because they were comfortable. And my brother called them my fat pants. And when he started doing that, it just gradually turned into my nickname. And so that's how I got it. And like I said, I don't mind people calling me at all. I actually like being called that. But pants, if you see people talking to me, that I'm friendly with, they mostly just call me Pants. So.
That's very convenient.
I don't think it's as prevalent today as in the past, but there was definitely a period of time where it seems like there was a real hatred of you from the ROH fan base. And I'm just wondering if did you have any insight to where you thought that came from, or?
Yeah, I know where it came from. The first match that kind of started it was back in Dayton. It was around the time that Generation Next started. So I'm not good with years or anything, but let's say it was 2005. Who knows? But it was in Dayton, and there was a 6-man tag with guys from Generation Next against, I think, Jimmy Rave and John Walters and maybe Matt Stryker, not positive. But in that 6-man, there was a lot of cheating behind my back. So Generation Next was taking advantage of, the John Walters coming in trying to save his partner, and I backed him off, and the cheating happened behind my back. And the fans at Dayton hated it. They were just pissed at me for letting these guys do this. And from there, it snowballed. It started in Dayton, then it went to Chicago, then it started coming east, and then for a long time it's been on almost all shows. I mean, they still boo me pretty much when they announce my name at the beginning of the show. I get booed pretty bad, except in the Carolinas. The Carolinas love me for some reason, and I appreciate it. But most places boo. So,
what's the worst bump you've ever taken?
Last year's Final Battle. And it's funny that we're talking about Final Battle because last year's Final Battle was the worst, most painful thing I've ever been through in my life.
Yeah.
Was when it was Kevin Steen against El Generico, and I got kicked. I was standing on the apron, and I got kicked by Generico. And when he kicked me, I fell backwards to the floor through a table. And when I landed, just the shock and the pounding I took was like, oh my God, what was that? And then for the next 9 months, my elbow was in really bad shape.
Wow.
And for some reason, I never got it checked, just because I don't really like to go to the doctor for some strange reason.
I don't either.
But around September, it just started feeling okay. But up until that point, my elbow hurt doing anything, just lifting, like a drink. It was my right elbow. Just lifting a drink, my elbow killed, and it was torture for the next 9 months trying to ref, because every time I would hit the mat with my right hand, I'd get a shock from my elbow. But maybe it's scarred up, or maybe it healed. I don't know, but it doesn't hurt anymore, thankfully.
That's always a plus.
That match was insane. And speaking of, since you kind of touched on Kevin Steen, I read a review, interview with Steen semi recently. I think it was after he was gone from the company for a little while, but before he had started making appearances again. And I'm not sure how much of it was Steen working the fans, or how much of it was legit. But when he was kind of asked about the whole fuck ROH thing that he was doing, he was kind of asked about that, and he pretty much said that after he was gone, pretty much everyone in Ring of Honor had forgotten about him, or just cut ties with him, except for two people. And he said one was Todd Sinclair and the other was Shane Hagedorn. So I was just, do you have any insight into that? Or are you pretty good friends with Kevin, or what are your thoughts on the whole Steen situation in general?
Well, I'm great friends with Kevin. He's one of the best guys I've ever met. He's one of my best friends. And lucky for me, I can separate the personal thing from the professional thing.
Right. So
regardless of what Kevin does in the ring, on the internet, or his attitudes, I don't play into what he's doing. So I can still be great friends with him without that coming into play. But as far as what he's doing, I don't agree with him for just about everything he says about the company. But he's got rights to say it. He has rights to say whatever he wants, but there's reasons why he's saying it, and you kind of can understand. He's not looked at in the best light by Jim Cornette or Davey Richards or Al Generico or whoever. But he's brought it on himself too. Don't want to say bad words or stuff, but he's been a douchebag for a lot of for the last couple of years. And I'm glad he's getting a shot to come back, but I'm also afraid of what he's going to do.
Right.
And you asked if I knew what matches I was doing for the show. I know I'm not doing that match because Jimmy Jacobs is the ref,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm kind of glad, because it's going to be a dangerous match, and especially what I went through last year in his match with the table. Mm-hmm. Him and Carino I think they're going to tear each other up. Someone's going to get hurt real bad.
Oh, it's definitely going to be a fight.
Yeah, and I want to be there as to enforce the rules, but I read today that it's a no DQ match, so that's another reason why I'm glad I'm not part of it. But I hope something gets to Kevin, gets to his head or gets to what's going on, and just kind of softens him, brings him down a little bit, not be such a douchebag, Yeah. But like I said, he's still one of my best friends. It's weird. That sounds strange, but I can avoid that crossing over in my life,
Right.
Is there anyone in the backstage locker that you aren't really friends with, that you just other than that?
Not really. I have better relationships with some people than I do with others. Mm-hmm. But the crew, from the wrestlers to the refs to ring announcer Bobby Cruz to Jim Cornette and Delirious and Carrie Silken, we get along great. There's there's so many good people there, and there has been for a long time. You know, even guys that have left, Bryan Danielson. You know, there's just good people that have worked for Ring of Honor, and you really don't run into a scumbag. You know, there's not real jerks that have come through and like just rubbed me the wrong way.
Right.
Some people maybe, but to me, you know, if they don't give me trouble, you know, I'm cool with them.
Last week, Tommaso Ciampa was our guest on our show, and he had some funny stories about his dad and stuff. I was just wondering, do you have a specific funny story as a referee, or that stands out?
I've had maybe not that funny, but I've had some really good moments on the road and in the ring with Bobby Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the ring announcer for Ring of Honor. We both live in the same state. We both live in Massachusetts. So we've traveled ever since we both started with Ring of Honor. We've traveled together for years and years and years. And we just have really good moments, the lights will come down in the ring and a guy will be making his entrance. And I'll go to Bobby Cruz and say something to him, or he'll say something back. I can't think of anything real funny, but I can tell you a story about there was the time that CM Punk against Samoa Joe, mm-hmm. which was the second match they did in Chicago, and it went an hour. And the first match that they did that went an hour, I didn't ref, but I was reffing the second one. And it was around the time that I had a dark match with WWE. So I maybe a month before, maybe 2 months before, I had done a dark match with WWE. Nothing came from it, and it was the only time I ever had tried it with him. But when I talked to Johnny Ace afterwards, he had told me, look, you did a really good job, but right now we're not interested. You have to lose some weight. You're just too heavy to work here. And I took that. Some people could take it as, well, what a jerk. But to me, he was just being honest.
Right.
Like, look, you need to do this if you want to work here. Go do this and come back, and we'll see what happens. But when they were going to do that match, so Punk and Joe, the lights come down. One of the entrances, maybe Punk. I went to Bobby Cruz, and because the match was going an hour, I said to him, look, Johnny Ace might think I'm too heavy, but I'm going to ref this hour match, and I'll show him, And it wasn't a dig at him, but it was look, you might think I'm heavy, but I can do this, and I'm great at it, And it was just kind of a prideful thing. So it's not really a funny story, but that's kind of just a little inside story for you that kind of goes on between me and Bobby Cruz.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, very cool. I know you're exclusive, with Ring of Honor. I think I read since 2007 you went exclusive with Ring of Honor. You don't ref anywhere else.
No.
Is that just because you feel like that's the place to be, period? Or do you at this point in your career have aspirations of maybe reffing in WWE, or is Ring of Honor just home for you?
Ring of Honor is definitely home for me. It's the best way to put it is Ring of Honor is the kind of wrestling that I love. It's the style that I love. The people working there, I love them. Everything about it is fits me in my life to a T. It's perfect. So right now, years ago I had aspirations to go somewhere else, but I'm psyched to be part of Ring of Honor, and I don't want to go anywhere else. When they came to me back in 2007 and said, we want to offer you this contract, it was the greatest day to me. It was the place I want to stay and I want to be and I want to grow with, they feel the same way about me, and they want me to stick around. And there's nowhere else I want to go, really. It would be nice to run every weekend so I can make a living out of this. Right now I can't because we're only running, say, 3 or 4 shows a month. But with time, under Sinclair Broadcasting, we're going to pick up shows. We're going to do, keep growing, and hopefully this can be my one and only job. And I hope it is in Ring of Honor.
Absolutely. Being a referee, you have to pay certain attention to different parts of the match, so you kind of end up missing a little bit of what's going on in the ring. Do you ever go back and watch some of the matches that you officiated so you can just appreciate the wrestling, or do you feel like you just have the best seat in the house being in the match?
I do feel like I have the best seat in the house, 1,000%. To be where I am, seeing what these guys are doing, the art form that is pro wrestling, there isn't a better seat. But I do watch some of the stuff that I do. I have all the DVDs.
Nice. And
I'm still a fan of Ring of Honor, even though I've worked there for so long. But I don't watch a lot of it. I mostly go back to watch pieces, like say there's a tag match with the Briscoes and Wrestling's Greatest Tag Team. I'll go in and I'll watch 5 minutes of that match that I remember to think, oh, okay, this didn't really work well on my end. I'm going to go back and study what I did to hopefully improve from it. So I do watch wrestling like that, but I don't really watch full matches, full shows, because I've seen it in the best place I can already see it,
Very cool. What would probably be like a dream match for you to officiate?
If I could have been doing this 20 years ago, I would love to ref Ricky Steamboat against Ric Flair. That would be the absolute ultimate.
Absolutely. So, going to be officiating the main event match. You got any more? Going to be main event. Refereeing the main event for Final Battle of 2011 at the Hammerstein Ballroom, December 23rd. Todd Sinclair, it has certainly been a pleasure. We enjoy you coming on to our show.
Yes, thanks for having me. Hopefully it wasn't too boring for you.
No, not at all.
It was cool. Thanks, man.
Yeah, we certainly do appreciate it.
And since you have all the DVDs, I have a large collection of Ring of Honor DVDs, but there's some out of print gems I maybe need to get in contact with you about. So.
Yeah, but I can't sell them. They're mine, man.
Oh.
But I don't have things that I wasn't on. So like the first couple years, I don't have any DVDs from that.
I'll have to consult my checklist.
Yeah, so anything from like late 2003 till now, I have it all. So
Man.
Very cool.
People come over to your house. Movie night. Oh, well, what are we going to watch? Yes.
That's it.
Well, Todd Sinclair, we certainly do appreciate you coming on, and best of luck to you on Final Battle.
Thanks a lot. And I hope people that want to learn more about Final Battle or about Ring of Honor, just go to ROHWrestling.com.
Mm-hmm.
And like this show, you guys said at the beginning of the interview, the card is stacked.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's not a bad match listed on this show. And for $15 to watch the iPay-per-view live on Friday night, it's a steal. Like any one of those matches is worth $15 on its own.
Mm-hmm.
And people I don't even know what WWF pay-per-views cost now, like $50.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
The value you get for this, I mean, if you're not a fan of Ring of Honor yet, give it a try and see what this is. This is pro wrestling. It's not sports entertainment, a term, sports entertainment. This is pro wrestling. It's the sport of wrestling, and it's the most athletic, greatest thing in the world, and that's from my heart. So give it a shot.
Very nice. And for anyone who wants to contact you, you are on Facebook and
Yep.
Twitter as well.
Yep, I'm on Twitter, Sinclair Todd. So just reverse my name, and I'm on Facebook. I think it's just Facebook.com/Todd Sinclair, but I'm not positive. But send me a message or a tweet or anything. I'm on there all the time. So shoot me anything you want.
All right, sounds good. Well, once again, we do appreciate you coming on, and I guess we will talk to you later.
Thanks
Great.
a lot,
Thanks
Todd.
very much.
Thanks, man.
All right, take it easy.
Yep, bye-bye.